Okay, well, perhaps you've seen my other videos about the build and the first burn or two of the stainless steel wood stove that I built. I've been here on the boat for 4 days and finally ready to light this thing off. Required drilling a 5-inch hole in the coach top there. This is the plug that came out of there, and I did fiberglass around the inside, and also had to build one side of the coach top up to make it level. Dickinson Marine tells you to put a spacer block in there. I just built it up with layers of fiberglass. You know, it takes time for that stuff to cure. That was a couple of days right there. And then I lined it with high temp silicone on top of that. Today I finally got everything installed the way it's going to be. My little tip, if you ever want to do something like this, is I used the Dickinson Marine deck fitting, and I've got 3 24-inch lengths of chimney pipe. Looking into it, I knew I needed 2 45s to make this turn to put the chimney where I wanted it. Dickinson sells some that are quite expensive, and they look kind of cheap and ugly to me. This is 3-inch stainless steel exhaust pipe, mandrel bent, and it fits with a little effort. It fits just perfectly inside the Dickinson chimney tubes. I wanted to get this on video before it gets dark. I'm letting the boat cool down to ambient temperature. I had the heater on this morning, I mean my diesel heater, but when I start this thing up tonight, probably after dark, I want it to be the same temperature inside as outside. Right now it's 58 degrees outside and 61 here in the boat. Not particularly cold down here in Benicia, but it's windy and rainy. In fact, I didn't have the heater on last night. I didn't find it necessary, but I definitely want to fire this thing up and see what it'll do. Make sure everything's safe. So stand by for that. So here it is, top side. That is not my chimney cap. I started building one, but I haven't finished it. I just put that on there to keep the rain out. Not that much gets in there. Nice thing is, all this is easy to take apart. I'll clean this up and paint and make it all pretty. I really just want to burn some wood tonight. So it's been a bit of a journey. Once I decided I wanted to put a wood stove on the boat, the biggest hurdle was to figure out where to put it, and had a lot of different ideas. I was looking at things like Cubic Mini and the Dwarf stove and the Hobbit stoves, and I kind of thought this space right here might work out, but then the chimney would be basically right inside my Dodger, so that's a no-go. I even considered putting it in the aft head back here in place of I don't even want to show you in there right now. That's another project I'm working on, but I thought about putting it back here and just having that door open when I was using it and only heating the aft cabin, but that wasn't really ideal either. I wanted it out here where I can sit in my spot and enjoy it. And you know, sit right here. It's right there. I can reach over here, load it. So this is obviously where it ended up going. I even considered taking out my gimbaled stove and putting it right there because it's a pretty good spot. It's forward of the compression post and the mast, which was a big part of it. All that is forward of my Dodger. So, and I was seriously considering that. In fact, I had this thing for sale on Marketplace for a little while, thinking I was gonna just run that exhaust right up there. But I like my gimbal stove, and I like having options. I have my propane, and I'll be able to cook with a small pan or something on this wood stove for heat. I have my diesel heater, which works great. I like to have redundant systems and options. So anyway, that's how we came up with the final spot right next to the compression post here. I already walk around this thing every time I go through here, and it's really not very intrusive being where it is. And so doing it this way, I can get the most clearance around the thing. I believe that was my funnel that just fell off the top of the chimney. I don't necessarily have to have this here. The refrigerator's right there. But you know, it's pretty good clearance. I'm going to monitor it tonight and make sure nothing down there is getting too hot. Like I say, if I had to, I could do other things with that. But I don't think it's going to be a problem. I could even make some kind of heat shield to put over that when I'm using the stove. And you might be wondering, how am I going to get into these spaces underneath it? There's 2 screws holding it down. I can take those out and loosen this and pull the whole thing out of there, including the chimney, stow it if I wanted to, and get it out of there. And you know, you want to be able to take it apart and clean the chimney tubes out. It's really not a big deal. Rigged up some tarp to protect my canvas. Not so worried about, well, yeah, I am, because if it burns through this, it'll probably burn into the sail. I really don't want to mess up my new canvas on my Dodger. So got that covered. I don't expect it to be a problem. It's awfully wet today. Any embers have a long way to go before they come out here. But I don't have my cap on yet, so just being cautious. So I thought I'd run down what the design of this thing is, what the thought process was. Basically, it's just a chamber to burn stuff. There's a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch stainless steel grate there. On each side, under the grate, is 1/4 inch stainless steel angle iron. And so that basically creates a channel right down the middle for the ashtray. You probably can't see much in there, but on this side, it's sealed here. And then there's a piece of pipe that runs up into the top of the chamber. So if I open this vent here, that vents air to the top part of the stove. On this side, another piece of channel, but the holes are on the inside. And when the ashtray is in there, it's actually put a little bit of a bend on that side of the ashtray. Creates a little duct for the air from this vent to pretty much go right up under the grill. And double wall stainless with K-Wool, which is a ceramic fiber matting, and the it's called Satinite or Satinite refractory cement. So it's very efficient at shielding heat, and that's what that's about. We'll be monitoring the heat situation under the table and around the edge of the table very carefully tonight. Well, I've been waiting a couple hours, and I want to do this somewhere around dusk for a couple different reasons. I'd like to be able to see if any embers are traveling all the way up and blowing out. Also, I just want everybody that's going home for the day to be gone. Less witnesses, you know. Probably not supposed to be burning in the marina. I don't plan on doing it very often. This is more of an at anchor thing. One of the other concerns I have is that when I go to start this thing up, being that it is pretty windy outside, I'm getting a considerable amount of backdraft right here. So I'm gonna have to get a nice hot little fire going quickly so the heat starts drawing up. That's the theory anyway. So I'm definitely gonna be changing this situation. This is just to fire up and get going. But I'll build some kind of fancy clamp. This is a piece of one of these elbows that I cut off, and it's got a nice flare on one end. I'll have to straighten that up a little, but I figure it'll slip right over this end, and I'll cut it through on one side, weld a nut on a side, and then run a screw through the other side, make a big nicer looking clamp. So in order to monitor the situation, I've got this laser thermometer thing. 61 degrees is what the top of the pan there is showing. And my cabin thermometer says that it's 60 degrees in here right now. 58 degrees outside. Not much different than it was a few hours ago. I'm hoping it gets cold tonight because I want to see what this thing will do. Let's see. The compression post, 65 degrees, 66. Interesting. Another thing about the chimney and the location that I chose is Dickinson Marine asks for 4 feet before you make any turns or go through the roof. Well, obviously I've got a couple of turns in there, but I do have about 5 feet of pipe before it gets to the coach roof. All right, well, it's getting a little bit exciting. The light is finally starting to dim around here, so it won't be long now. Okay, well, it's starting to get dark and be time to light this thing off pretty soon. So I am pretty fond of this speaker cabinet back here. I'm gonna put this piece of plywood there, and I'll monitor the temperature of that piece of plywood. So it's finally starting to get dark. This is what kind of day it is around here. It's not very cold. It's only about 57 degrees outside right now. It's still 60 down below. Okay, so we're going full 19th century here. The sun's gone down, and I've got a candle burning in this little lantern here, and we're gonna get a fire started and see what happens. Well, there's a lot of backdraft coming through here, so like I was saying before, gotta get a good hot fire going quickly. Draw the heat up. That's the theory anyway. We shall see. I'm actually glad it's not very cold tonight, but the wind is blowing pretty consistent, and I have that backdraft, so I'll know what I need to do to deal with it. A lot of smoke coming in right now, but mostly just blowing right out the hatch. Whew. Yeah, pretty smoky. Okay, finally it's starting to draft. And no more smoke in here. It's just going up the chimney now. I'll get a little heat going. I'll put some more fuel on there and go check topside and see what's going on. Yeah, that's good. It was getting pretty smoky in here for a little while. It's going good now, drawing good. Get those two pieces there and I'll go in and close the door, go up topside, see what's up. Let's go see what's going on. There it is. I don't see any embers. I'll let those two pieces get going a little bit more, and then I'll add some to it and sit back and watch. Okay, it is currently 60 degrees in here and 57 degrees outside. I wish it was colder for this, but it is what it is. Just gonna take some initial temperature tests. Surface of the stove is currently at 240 degrees. Let's try the heat shield here. Well, it's all over between 90 and 120. It's putting out some heat. That plywood in the back, 82. Yeah, I think closing the door makes it draw more. Okay, that's with the door fully closed and latched. Now showing 252 degrees on the surface there. 104. Around 300 degrees. 100 degrees. Okay, well, she's a-going, and I can tell you it's getting warm in here fast. While we're having this fire inside my boat, I want to thank my mother for reminding me this morning to have some ventilation going on. Well, I'll tell you what, it gets warm real quick with this thing going. I don't think there's going to be any trouble at all with keeping the whole boat warm in really, really low temperatures. Well, shall we go have a look out on deck again? There's a view of the cap. I've yet to see a single ember come out of it. Well, it's only been burning for a short time, and I'll tell you what, it's very satisfying. It gets warm in here real quick. I think it's going to be my favorite way to heat the boat. I just went up topside. I still haven't seen one ember make its way out there. Burning real nice and efficient. I think I'm going to go ahead and add a little fuel to it. Okay, so I'm just chilling here, about to get down on some ramen. Fire's been burning for, I don't know, at least an hour. There's a shot of my toe resting on the base. That's my finger right up on the edge of that heat shield. I can feel the heat in the shield, but the table is, I could leave my hand there all day. Okay, I just stoked it up again. Of course, this is just Doug fir I'm burning, so it burns pretty hot, pretty fast. But actually, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Looks like the color of the pipe is starting to blend a little more. All right, so it's 68 inside and 58 outside right now. Yeah, this thing gets with it. It gets warm in here right now. Okay, surface temp. Well, come on now, make up your mind. 321 it's saying. compression post over there. $100, $120. The plywood behind the stove. $131. Okay, big question. What's it like on the surface under the table behind the thing? Right about there. Heat shield surface. Somewhere around 300, 320. Table surface right behind it. $118. That's warm, but okay. Okay, so I had the one door aid opened up, and I just opened the other one up because it's getting warm up in here. Yeah, almost 69 degrees in here and 58 outside. Well, I imagine I would have tried one of these things eventually, but I just happened to find this one sitting up at the trash cans one day. That's a few months ago, probably shortly after I started building this thing. And so obviously I grabbed it and set it aside, thinking one day I'll see if that thing works on my wood stove. And I'll tell you what, it has made all the difference, because the last couple hours it's been getting really warm here in the salon, and even in the forward cabin. But now that I've got this fan going here, and kind of blowing it back towards the captain's cabin, it's much more pleasant here in the salon, and the heat is being distributed. This little sucker's great. Hope I don't burn it up on here. I don't know what the temperature range is supposed to be. Okay, so burning for about 3 hours now. I've got both vents closed about halfway, and I could probably close them a little bit more, but it's burning nicely. And this little thermal fan thing is so cool. I just set it on there and starts blowing heat. Okay, so it's 10 minutes to 9, which means I've been burning for about 4 hours now. 107 degrees on the plywood behind the stove. $122 right on the pipe going out. So yeah, after 4 hours, it's 72 degrees in here, 59 degrees outside. And that's with this port light open and both door aids are open. It gets plenty warm. Okay, so it's about 9:45. I've been having this thing running all night. Really just trying to keep it going and not burn too fast. I don't want to consume more fuel than is necessary. Also, it gets really hot really fast. It's 73 degrees in here. So there's the old diesel heater that I'm sure I've featured in other videos. This thing has been going and going for a couple of years. I haven't had to mess with it. It runs off the fuel supply of the boat, and it works great. Keeps the place nice and warm. However, it doesn't get nearly as warm as this little heater will do here. It's all about keeping the fire as low as possible, because otherwise this thing will cook me right out of here. It's morning. Just want to get a look in here. See what I can see. So, yeah, that's just completely burned ash. I'm curious how much is going to be. So I figure I burned about 3 foot of 2x6 Doug fir last night. Yeah, that's what's left of it.